How many of you absolutely love to be sold? One person. Do people often think you're going to sell them when you give them opportunity, yes or no? What if they enrolled for their reasons instead of were sold for yours? Do you think that might make it easier? So Adam did a really good job of saying, share the benefits and understand that you are enrolling them for their reasons through education, not selling them from our position for our benefit. So let's flip the script a little bit. I love the panel that just shared here real quick because they said that you want to have caring conversations. There's a saying that people don't care how much or care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So if you actually get concerned about their interests, their challenges, their issues, when someone's evaluating an opportunity for business, whether it be an independent business or even large business, is they usually look at 3 criteria. First of all, is there a problem? Do people have a problem with health in this world, yes or no? Do people have a problem with their finances? So there is a problem. Next, do you have a solution, yes or no? Is there enough demand? Yes, just about anybody who eats and breathes is a potential candidate because we're concerned about our health, our finances, and so forth. So how do we engage this conversation which causes them to feel or create an appetite or they're salivating for a solution as opposed to us starting to cram something down their throat? If in this room there was a lot of lights on, if I turned on a light, would it make much of a difference, yes or no? No, but if it was completely dark and we turn on one single light, would it make a difference? So there's a saying that is applied to how you communicate with your audience, and that is this: there is no light without the darkness. There is no light without the darkness. So by contrast, I would challenge you, instead of just starting with the benefits or the solution, and you should be selling benefits. You should be selling or engaging them with solution. Not facts, not features, not, how long you've been in business for 48 years and all of the clinical studies, because Adam's right, people don't care. So you want to start by creating an appetite for them to salivate for your solution even before you bring up the benefits. So there is no light without the darkness. If you can start by getting them to focus on the problem they either know they have or don't know they have, they're more likely to want the benefit. So what you want to do is share with them the potential problem that people have. And how many of you know what an elevator pitch is? Anybody? What's an elevator pitch? Just shout it out. Who knows it? Other than Liz. Yeah, it's a 15, 20, 30-second introduction when someone asks, what do you do? And most of us say, well, I'm in network marketing, or I'm health, I'm in supplements, or earning additional income. And most of us don't have something that is appealing or sexy for people to say yes to. And I don't want to change it. If you have something that's working, make sure you stick with it. But if you're on the 15th floor of this hotel and someone looks down at your badge or says, are you here for a conference? What do you do? Instead of saying, well, I help people solve their financial problems, or I help people improve their health, or I help them eat better when they're traveling, what if you started with the problem and then shared the solution? Because by contrast, if you share the problem first, they have a desire or a need for the solution. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Even more important than how you say it is the syntax or the order with which you say it. So if you lead with the benefit, if you lead with the solution, you're actually spilling the candy in the lobby before they even have an interest or desire or an appetite. So if you can, by contrast, share the challenges that most people have, and let's talk about what those are. In fact, before I share with it, if you look in your manual, your journal, there it says on the left-hand side, it talks about an elevator pitch or speech. We've given you a couple examples of what an elevator pitch might look or sound like, at least for the product in this industry. So what page is that on? So the way it's going to sound is, do you know how? And then share the problem. What we do is, and then you can share the solution. By contrast, if they get identified with a problem they didn't know they had, or they knew they had but weren't thinking about it, now you've caused them to be hungry or salivate for the solution. So do you know how? Share the problem. What we do is share the solution. Give an example. Do you know how over 70% of the population is overweight and over 30% is considered obese, and even people that think they're healthy or in shape are unhealthy because of stress and toxicity? So now notice, I'm casting a wider net. I'm not just talking about weight loss. I'm not just talking about, supplements to your diet. If you can cast a wider net, get more people to be attracted, because if they're not overweight or if they don't think they're unhealthy, they may think they're fit, but now you're saying even those people who think they're fit may be suffering from stress or toxicity they may or may not be aware of. Does that make sense? So now I've shared the challenge or the issue, and by contrast, what we do is help you comfortably adjust to a healthy diet or lifestyle without the need for drastic changes or trendy diets. Have people been on diets before, yes or no? Yes, people with challenges in their health usually have tried different diets, some with success, some without, but usually they go on what is considered the yo-yo diet. If you know that's a potential problem, why don't you pre-frame it, bring it up early so they can feel the pain of some of their past experiences. Now here's the key, is that an undisturbed prospect will not buy. If they don't feel any disturbance or any upset with where they are, if they're satisfied with their life, their health, their income, they're not going to make a change. So we're going to shine a little light on the challenges by agitating them a little bit, not irritating them, but agitating them to cause them to want to take action. So the next one. Do you know how many people make poor food choices, either because of a lack of education or the availability of healthy options? What we do is make it easy and inexpensive for you to achieve healthier lifestyle and maintain your ideal weight without yo-yo dieting or major sacrifices. Now, have we told them what we do yet? Yes or no? Not specifically. Next, do you know how? It can become more challenging to eat correctly or find healthy food choices when you travel or dine out. I do. I haven't been home for 16 days. Next, what we do is give you the comfort of knowing that you can have immediate access to healthy supplements regardless of temptations or poor selections when you find yourself in unpredictable environments. Now, are we selling here, yes or no? In this case, you're educating them on the challenges and educating them that there is a potential solution, but you're not forcing anything down their throat. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to let you choose or pick some great elevator pitches for your group. Rather than me telling you, we're going to have you go ahead and write down. What are 2 or 3 of the biggest problems that your audience could potentially face? And then how do you solve that without giving away too much and still creating curiosity for them to say, how do you do that? Because the purpose of the elevator pitch is not to sell, it's not to convert, it's not to enroll, it's to create curiosity. So if they see you in the elevator and ding, you hit the lobby, they say, wait on, before you go, tell me how you do that. They want to know more. Remember, you only want to sell the next step. The next step is a conversation. It's not becoming a distributor. It's not, buying a bunch of product or getting on auto ship. So just sell the curiosity for them to say, how do you do that? So very quickly, we're going to play a little background music for just a couple minutes, and then we're going to share the top ones. You're actually going to stand up and share it with the person next to you. We're going to have a little elevator pitch off here to see who has the best elevator pitch in this room. So very quickly, write down what is the challenge or the problem that your audience or your potential client could have, and then what's the solution? What are the biggest problems? At the end. All right, how many of you have at least one elevator pitch right now? Show of hands. How many need more time? Okay, 30 seconds, really quickly. Just write down the problem and your solution. Do you know how? What's the problem? What we do is share the solution. Everybody will need to have one because you're going to have a little speak off here, a little elevator pitch off. Test. Okay, wrap that up. Alex. All right. Is knowing how to do it and doing it different? Yes or no? Yes. When you work with your team, when you work with your people, don't just tell them how to do it. Give them an experience of doing it for themselves because they sharpen that axe and they become more comfortable doing it. So what we're going to do is this. Listen to the instructions very carefully because we're going to have a little bit of fun here, and then we're going to have a little speak off, if you will. We're going to pair off real quickly, and you're going to deliver your elevator pitch to the person next to you. Then we're going to switch and have them pitch to you. What we're going to look for, the top 5 or 10 in this room, we're going to put them up on stage and share it from the front of the room. So if your partner has a really killer elevator pitch that you thought was really powerful, you're going to volunteer them to come up on stage in just a minute. No pressure. All right, very carefully or very quietly, stand up, find a partner next to you. The person with the longest hair will go first. Share your elevator pitch. Should be short and sweet. And then share. Stand up, share your pitch to your partner. Make sure to switch. If you haven't switched, switch. Test it. All right, finish up. Finish up, focus here. Now this is not an official break, so if people are sneaking out of the room, that usually means that this is an uncomfortable environment for them. Just saying. Now, how many of you had someone who did a really good job with their elevator pitch? Great. Who wants to nominate someone to come into the front of the room and try it out? Right there, 1. Right there, 2. Right there, 3. Right there, 4. 5, 6. We'll do one more. 7, right back there with your hand up. Come on up on stage. Give them a hand for volunteering. So, you step right here. Now, I didn't give you a lot of guidelines, but as they make their way to the stage, there's a couple things in the elevator pitch that are important. One is not to sell. It's to educate or enroll. Share the problem first, solution second. Number 2, less is more is less. So if they have a run-on sentence that goes on and on and on, is it possible that the elevator could hit the lobby and that person is gone before you finish? An elevator pitch is short and sweet, specific, fast hitting. So usually problem, solution. What's your problem? How do you solve it? So we're just going to pass the mic and go down this list, and then you guys get to vote who did the best job, and there's a little reward for them for winning this contest. So guys, take a step forward. All right, and where are the microphones? Tell you what, I'm going to take these and start them right down here. So you're partners. All right, first person. What's your first name, sir? All right, listen up for Brian. Do you know how? What we do is, here's his elevator pitch. If you like it, give him a hand. Brian, go ahead. Microphone.
Do you know how people are having trouble with things like no energy, losing weight, and finding out how to get healthy? Well, what we do is we provide people with support, education, and supplements that help them achieve their health goals.
If you like it, give him a hand. Very nice. What's your name?
My name is Donna.
Donna, be next, please.
Did you know how we are facing one of the biggest epidemics in child obesity? What we do is re-educate parents on how creating healthy habits is fun and achievable.
Very nice. Now, as you listen to this, ask yourself, if you were in an elevator and you heard this, would you be curious to want to know more? All right, what's your first name?
Maddie.
Maddie?
Maddie, yeah.
Very nice. Be next, please.
Do you know how little education there is about the link between food and sleep quality? What we do is share quality whole food products that have helped us in our everyday sleeping routines for people who work night shifts and for young women who have kids.
Very nice. Give her a hand. What's your first name?
Amelia.
Amelia, be next, please.
Do you know how becoming a new mum, you start wondering about what point you'll have to go back to work? What we do is give you an opportunity to stay home longer whilst you create an income being at home with them.
Very nice. Give her a hand. What's your first name? Sherelle. Sherelle, be next, please. Michelle.
Did you know there are more single households living in Australia than dual now? What we do is help women create financial independence so they don't sacrifice the time they spend with their family for money.
Very nice. Give her a hand. What's your first name? Allie, be next, please.
Do you know how our farmers are struggling due to weather, drought and floods, that we don't get the right nutrients in our fruit and veggies? What we do is provide you an opportunity to flood your body with really, really good nutrients that are picked at their prime.
Very good. Give her a hand. Michelle, be next, please.
Okay. Do you know how you feel guilty about getting your hair done?
No.
What we do is we help women create a little fun and beauty maintenance fund.
I missed the end of that. We help them do what?
We help them create a little fun and beauty maintenance fund.
All right, very nice. Beauty maintenance fund. What's your first name? Rachel, be next, please.
Do you know how a majority of the population struggle with their health, knowing what to eat, how to be healthy, and how to treat their bodies? What we do is we educate people on how to make small changes to their everyday routine to lead a healthier lifestyle.
Very good. Give her a hand. What's your first name? Susie, be next, please.
Did you know that 6%, less than 6% of children in Australia actually get 2 serves of fruit and 5 serves of veggie every day? what we do is make sure that families have an affordable way to get more fruit and veg in their lives.
Very good. Give her a hand. What's your first name?
Garth.
Garth?
Yep.
Very nice. Be next.
Did you know that most of the illness and ill health and disease that we suffer today is due to oxidative stress that's brought into our bodies through our lifestyle? And did you know that the best way to fight oxidative stress is flooding your bodies with antioxidants? That's exactly what we help you do.
All right. Give him a hand. First name?
Sally Ann.
Sally Ann. Be next.
So do you know how, as a dynamic, busy mama, it's harder to have an income that can be created around the kids? Well, what we do is mentor, coach, and help mamas join a community of like-minded women to grow an online business.
Very good. Give her a hand. What's your first name? Heidi. Be next.
Do you know how daycare is really expensive and it's hard to juggle being a mum and working? What we do is give mums an opportunity to create an income in a fun and supportive online community.
Very nice. Show your appreciation. What's your first name?
Pia.
Again?
Pia.
Pierre. Did you say?
Pia.
Like she said.
Pia.
Give her a hand.
Okay. Did you know how inflammation can be the cause of so many people's health issues, which can include joint pain and aching body? What we do is help you comfortably adjust to a healthier lifestyle, and you don't have to rely on prescription medication. We have a whole food, quality whole food products.
All right, give them a hand. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. Now, you get to choose, and you guys get to be the judges over here, all right? So you get to choose who you felt did the best job with their elevator pitch, because I'm just going to put my hand over their head. You give a feedback and applause to the ones you think did a best job. We're going to pick the top 3 and have a pitch off from there. Give a hand. Pay close attention over there, guys. See, this is not a popularity contest or who brought the biggest team. Here, how about here? How about here? Michelle has some fans. Here? Push this out back out of the way. How about here? You have a lot of fans here, you know. Yeah. How about here? How about here? How about here? All right, you stay on stage, sir. What were the other ones, Anthony? Michelle? Stay on stage. And who else? This one? All right, you two stay on stage. Everybody else, please take a seat. Thanks for playing. Give me a hand. Move right in here. All right, there's no pressure, but the outcome of this game is to win. Actually, here's the thing. You're on an elevator. You ask the question, what do you do? Listen to the response and ask yourself if you would be compelled to ask them, tell me how you do that. All right, first. Do you know how? Do you have a microphone? Okay, we'll just start. There we go.
Do you know how we are facing one of the biggest epidemics in child obesity? What we do is re-educate parents on how creating healthy habits is fun and achievable.
Very nice. Michelle.
Do you know how you feel guilty about getting your hair done? Well, what we do is we help women create a little fun and beauty maintenance fund.
Very nice. Who's next? Same.
All right, did you know? It's very simple. We are getting sicker and sicker as life goes on because of the amount of oxidative stress that our bodies are dealing with on a daily basis. How would you like to find out that by flooding your body with antioxidants, you can actually be well? You, your family, and everyone you know.
Ding! All right, this is the final test. See who did best. How many think she did the best? How about here? How about here? I'm not sure. It's pretty close. Okay, we're buying lunch. He wins. Give him a hand. Great job. Great job. Great job. Now, we have two choices to process. Now we can say, I'm glad that's over with. Or you can get curious with your team and create some different elevator pitches. Because is it possible you're going to be in different environments? Yes or no? Yes, if you're in an environment like this, you're not going to have the same elevator pitch if you would if you were sitting next to someone on an airplane or when you go home for the holidays and your relatives say, hey, what are you up to now? Well, do you know how? What we do is create curiosity. You're not trying to sell them. You're not trying to pitch them. You're creating an opportunity for them to say, tell me more. How do you do that? Now they're asking to be enrolled, not being told. Can you also... I know one of the things that's real important when Adam was on stage, he was talking about the fact that you want to ask questions. Would you agree with that? So critical that you ask, don't tell. And if you can ask questions, I'm curious, how are things going with your health or your life or your finances? If you're having a conversation, if you get involved in caring about asking questions about them, they're more likely to share information. You're not trying to sneak up on them and can't wait to pounce on them, to pitch them something. If you cause people to feel you care about them through questions, they're more likely to respond with an answer. Now, is it also possible, for those of you who don't like to sell, what if you used metaphors or stories, or if you're in a situation where you can do exercises or games, is that a way to get people to understand difficult topics without selling them? Yes or no? Would you like me to share with you a couple metaphors that you might be able to use in your situation? So let's say, whether it's one-on-one, or maybe you have 4 or 5 people together in a room and you're having a conversation. You could tell them that health is not a cataclysmic event, meaning that you don't, live a perfect lifestyle and someday you have a heart attack or disease or cancer in your body. It's usually a failure of judgment in errors that is practiced daily over and over again, whether you're eating poorly, you're not exercising, you're stressed, you have toxicity in your system or in your environments. So what if, instead of saying that, because now you're teaching or presenting or vomiting on someone, what if you could give them a metaphor? Let me give you an example. Let's say you're presenting to 4 or 5 people who are potential candidates for the business or for the product. Say, imagine if you're walking along a river and all of a sudden you hear a cry for help. And a person's drowning, so of course you jump into the river, you pull them to shore, you pump all the water out of the chest, you give them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and you save their life. And no sooner do you finish saving their life, what do you hear? 2 more cries for help. And you repeat the same process. You pull them to shore, you pump all the water out of their chest, you give them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, you save their life. No sooner do you finish, what do you hear? More cries for help. Is it possible sometimes in our business, in our lives, in our health, we're so busy trying to put out fires or pulling people out of the river that we don't have time to go upstream and see who the hell's pushing these people in? What if we took care of our health upstream? What if we took care of our business or our finances or our family situation so that we didn't have those fires to put out or those bodies to pull out of the river? Make sense? What if you did that instead of trying to convince them with facts, features, and benefits? See, people learn best when they don't know they're learning. When you can use metaphors and stories, people draw the conclusion or the moral to the story that they need or want. So instead of telling them, what if you ask them? What if you put them in an experience? When you tell stories, when you use metaphors, and I know today's about storytelling or story selling, you let them draw the conclusion that they want regardless of the conclusion that you thought they needed. People get from the story what they need. Now there's another very powerful story or metaphor I want to share with you. And if you look it up, it was published in Inc. magazine many years ago, and the study was called Change or Die. Change or Die. Because if you ask people in fact, I'll ask you, if you go to your doctor and the doctor says, gosh, I've got some really bad news, you've got some really serious health issues, if you don't change your lifestyle, you will die. How many of you change your lifestyle? No, you won't, and neither will your clients, neither will your prospects, neither will the people you talk to. They won't do it. And if you need any evidence, and if you can use this story as you're talking to potential people, and also how you need to reinforce and support your people, if you were to give that diagnosis or that prescription to your audience, most won't change. They say they will, but then they go right back into old habits, old lifestyle, pressing and urgent activities. They don't have time to prepare a healthy meal, so they take a shortcut, pick up fast food. In 1993, there was a study done with 333 patients. Mutual of Omaha, the insurance company, subsidized the study because there were 333 patients who were given that advice by their doctor: change your lifestyle or face death. And they told them, will you change your lifestyle? They asked them, they said, yeah, I'll change my lifestyle. I'm committed. I have willpower. Is willpower enough? Yes or no? No. Most people won't change. And you're actually doing your client and customer and prospect a disservice by letting them say, yeah, I've got this, I can change. They won't. And sure enough, what happened is they tested, they watched and tracked and followed these 333 patients after they were given this diagnosis to change or die. And a year after, they came back and said, how many of you changed your lifestyle? What percentage do you think changed? 7%. 7% out of 333. That's like 25 people. 25 out of 333 had the willpower to maintain the lifestyle changes they were told either they change or die. So what was missing? They hired Dr. Dean Ornish to come up and take those people upstream, to give them new eating habits, new cooking habits, new recipes. They taught them how to shop. They gave them exercises to do on a regular basis: breathing, meditation, yoga, cardiovascular workouts. And they created this program for them to follow over a period of 1 year. 2 or 3 times a week, they had something different for them to do. At the end of the year, they stopped the program. 2 years after they stopped the program, they went back and measured to see how many people had maintained the lifestyle. 2 years from the end, 3 years from the start of the program, they went back and measured the success rate. They were surprised and shocked to find, even 2 years after the program had completed, that 73% had maintained the lifestyle changes. Why? Because they'd been educated. They'd been supported. They'd been conditioned, reinforced, and programmed and held accountable for those lifestyle changes. See, when you bring someone else on and you share with them new product, meaning something to be healthy, work with them. Be Walter Russell. Provide massive value to them. Continue to support with them. Work with them. Reinforce and condition. If you're not putting them on an auto package, the chances of them reordering are very unlikely, because they're going to go right back to old habits. How many know what I'm talking about? Show of hands. See, we're doing them a disservice. We have a moral obligation to convince them to get involved and participate in their own rescue. Now I want to share one final story, and that is, it's another story about Walter Russell. By the way, both of those metaphors work really well when you're doing presentations and trainings. If you're doing a training for 5 or 50 or 500, if you share with them the metaphor, they get it. They need to go upstream and do something preventatively to take care of their health. If you share the change or die, you're not making them wrong. You're not saying you won't change, but you will get them to see that even 333 patients who went through that prescription of change or die didn't have enough motivation to stick with the changes until they had new ways of eating, new education, new reinforcement and conditioning. So use those tools when you're talking to groups, and they'll make a decision based on their reasons, not because you made them wrong or tried to sell them. One last story. Walter Russell was 15 years old. He was going through art school. He was dating an older woman. She was 18. He was only 15. And interestingly enough, he said, they were walking along the street one day, and they noticed this big poster that the opera was coming to town. And she loved the opera. And she looked at the board and she goes, honey, I want to go to the opera. And he goes, gosh, money's kind of tight. And he was thinking he had about $6 in his pocket. And he goes, okay, I'll figure out a way to take you to one of the operas. She goes, no, 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 I don't want to go to one opera. I want to go to the entire series. And he turned to her and he goes, honey, that's quite impossible. And she looked at him and said, those are words I never thought I would hear out of your mouth. That could ruin a man's pride really quickly, couldn't it? And he decided, you know what? I don't know how, but okay, we'll go to the old. And she gives him a big hug and she goes, that's what I want to hear. And they go their separate ways. And he's thinking, how can I possibly be a visionary and decide that I want to go to all of the series when I only have $6 in my pocket? So he decided not to observe the money in his pocket. He decided to be a visionary and decide what he wanted, regardless of physical appearances. And so the next morning, the ticket booth, and the ticket booth was just opening. Comes around the corner, sees this big long line for people waiting to get their tickets. And with only $6 in his pocket and not realizing, or he realized that it cost $73 for the entire series. But with only $6 in his pocket and the absolute faith, he'd figure out a way, without observing the reality, but staying close to his vision, he got in line. He looked at all the people in front of him. They all had the means, the money, and the wealth to be able to purchase the entire series, and he didn't. But instead of looking at what he didn't have, staying focused on what he wanted, he got in line. And all of a sudden, he felt a tap on his shoulder. He said, excuse me, sir, would you mind, and there was people behind him at this point, would you mind selling me your place in line? Because I've got to get back to work, and I don't want to go to the end of the line. Can I buy your place in line? He said, I'll do better than that. He takes a little notepad out of his back pocket, pulls out a pen. He says, share with me your address, give me the money, I'll purchase the tickets, and I will deliver them to your office. And all of a sudden, like a bookie at the racetracks, people saw what he was doing, and they said, hey, would you purchase my tickets? Would you purchase my tickets? Next thing you know, he had this crowd around him of people willing to pay him $5 to purchase their tickets. By the time he got to the front of the line, he had enough to purchase the $73 series for his girlfriend and himself, and he had $100 left over for art school. But even though when he got in line, he had no physical evidence or proof that he could make that happen, but he had the faith. My challenge to you, get in line. Thanks for playing, guys. I appreciate your attention.